Hello, peeps. Good to be back on the podcast. Hey, guys. Thank you for joining me. I'm Joe2 here for the AEW Dynamite review for June 28th, 2023 edition. We are now basically through June with AEW. And this year's moving by quickly. But last Forbidden Door was Sunday, and which was a extraordinary wrestling event as far as wrestling is concerned. But yeah, that was quite fun. And moving on to Dynamite last night was, we're in this time now where, okay, in my days of watching wrestling, when I first started, you had Raw on Mondays, SmackDown on Thursday and Fridays, then a pay-per-view every so often, once a month. Now and then when I started investing in TNA, that was on Thursdays, and then I obviously flipped through the days, but alas, now you got Raw for people that just love wrestling in general. And sadly, there's only few where there's people there's idiots that just love one company and love to bash on the other and bash on anyone who loves that certain company. But alas, for the few that are left that just love pro wrestling, okay, you have Raw on Mondays, you have NXT on Tuesdays, you have Dynamite on Wednesday, you have Rampage on Friday, Collision now on Saturday, and Forbidden, and get your maybe pay-per-view, in which if you follow just AEW, realize that Rampage on Fridays, you had Collision on Saturday, and then you had Forbidden Door on Sunday. So right off the bat, for an AEW fan that follows everything, like, But alas, it was a good weekend. Dynamite here was not up to par as what we've been accustomed to. Now, look, when you come off a successful pay-per-view like it was on Sunday, and their pay-per-view schedule, which, by the way, having All Out and All In within a week is very suspect. Very suspect for any casual fan. 2 pay-per-views in a week. That's, you know, I don't know about that. But we'll see what Tony Khan and AEW has lined up for both pay-per-views and see how he's able. Because, I mean, the pay-per-view schedule isn't a lot during the year. You don't have monthly pay-per-views like we do with WWE. You have one pay-per-view every few months. So it would be okay to not have All Out. It'd be okay to space out All Out. You know, maybe happen in October or late October, push back Full Gear. I mean, there's options. But 2 pay-per-views in a week for AEW is gonna be odd. See how they handle it. But yeah, All In and All Out, we'll see. But none. Which, by the way, speaking of the announcement of Forbidden Door, if you have not catch up on my Forbidden Door review, post that on late Monday, early Tuesday, depending where you are. But yeah, that's on the channel as well. You can keep up with that. Subscribe if you're new on the channel. Find all those videos. Notification bell, etc. But now getting to Dynamite, you know, after a busy weekend of AEW, and the show felt like a reset, like a come down period, which is fine. You know, when AEW's on, they're on. But even that when they're off, it's still a decent show. And that's kind of what last night was, a decent show. Now, we'll see. Now that the first 2 episodes are out of the way, with Collision, how will... I mean, I assume Tony Khan's probably add more to his writing team to help ease the load for him when it comes to figuring out what to do for Dynamite, Collision, and Rampage. Luckily for those who follow Ring of Honor, he apparently had... I saw that he forfeited basically the creative to Ring of Honor. He will still, have the final say, but he forfeited to Jerry Lynn and who's that guy? The guy from the firm, but I forget his name, but yeah. Nonetheless, you have Rampage, Collision, and Dynamite. curious to see how he handles it, but so far so well. But after the Owen Hart Cup tournament concludes, we'll see how he continues his build for Collision and whatnot. We'll see. But on Dynamite, so we had Sting and Darby versus Paymaker, Jericho, and Sammy in the main event. A chaotic main event. Was good, but didn't feel like it. I mean, it certainly felt like a reset main event for moving forward with Dynamite. As we position AEW, Forbidden Doors out of the way. Now, time to slowly start building towards All In and All Out, it seems. So, see how that goes. Dark Order had a match with the Elite, which saw as well. Same with John Moxley and Ishii, but the whole vibe about the show felt odd or decent. But nonetheless, let's get into review now, shall we? Not waste too much time with it. So the show started off with John Moxley versus Tomohiro Ishii. Which was a solid match, Ishii was the fifth man for the Elite's team with Eddie Kingston for Forbidden Door on Sunday. And he got the pinfall over Yuta. This match here did its job with Moxley, and they are telling, a bit of a story with now Moxley and Eddie Kingston. Their friendship is boiling over, so there's that. But yeah, this physical match, they start out with going with chops back and forth. Then they hit forearms back and forth. Mox hit Suicida to the outside. A. Kingston came out to stage off Claudio and Yuta, basically making this an even match, per se. And Claudio and Kingston were just staring holes at each other at ringside, so that was hilarious. So Ishii in the break dropped Mox with a big elbow. Then they were on the top. Ishii nice suplex for their fall. Then they follow up with more forearms back and forth. Mox set a pile driver for a near fall. Then they started biting each other and headbutting each other. Mox then was busted open for a brief bit. So then Ishii came off the ropes. Mox countered into a paradigm shift, but only for a near fall. Ishii fired back, hit DT, followed with a big lariat, dropping Mox on his head for a 2. Followed with a sliding lariat, but still only a near fall. Then they traded 1 counts for a bit. Mox then was able to hit a Death Rider, but another near fall. Mox Ishii was tough here in Stone Pitbull. Finally, the last exchange. Ishii went a nice enziguri to the back of Mox's head. Mox fired back, hit a curb stomp, with a Death Rider 1, 2, 3, and Mox beat Ishii here. So, good stuff. Good way to open the show. Mox and Eddie were having words with each other, and it looked like they're gonna come unglued, but Moxley just went to the back. They followed him. So Renee Paquette, she was waiting for Adam Cole. He arrived in a limo, and she was trying to get words in with Adam Cole, and then MJF arrives in a big ambiance looking red ride, pretty much. And then he just stuck his head out the window and he was like, "How's it going, buddy?" With the prickest smile you could have. So he was like, you know, since we're gonna be partners, he said, "Great." He basically called Adam Cole's bluff for saying he was sick, which he actually was, and he missed his match with Tom Lawler at the pay-per-view, which, I mean, match wasn't even needed on the pay-per-view, to be honest. I mean, I've seen a couple of Tom Lawler's fights in the UFC, but not much in pro wrestling, so. But, you know, so I'm just like, yeah, I should have done the same. He said, anyways, that that they could run this company, and that since they're getting prepared for this tag team tournament, the blind eliminator, he's like, me and you should have some bonding time. So he's like, yeah. So Cole was like, okay, I'm gonna home, gonna talk to a few people, and then I'll be back. So yeah, pretty much. And then MJF kept touching Cole, and Cole's like, "Don't you touch me!" And then next, no, he touched him. He's like, "What did I just say?" He's like, "I forgot." He said, "Since we're gonna be the new AEW World Tag Champions, I already print us merchandise. It's like better than you, baby." Available on AEWshop.com. With a prickish smile. I mean, hilarious. Hilarious. So, anyways, they cut to the back again, and Moxley and Claudio or Moxley and Kingston, they were arguing backstage, and Renee, she was in the middle of it, saying that's enough. Uh, so Moxley was hot-headed. He left. Renee went after him, and Renee was like, "I'm done with this, Eddie. I'm done with this." So, I mean, it seems like after the very physical match Omega had with Ospreay at Forbidden Door, and with Bryan injuring his forearm, that it's going to be 4-on-4, and it seems like it will be a Kingston as the fourth guy to fend off the BCC with the Elite for Blood and Guts. So, this adds a nice touch to things, and, you know, I'm very good with it, so good stuff. Next up, so yeah, a little recap because it's the fall show of Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay, that incredible match they had for Forbidden Door. Omega was like, felt like all eyes were on me. I let people down. I failed. Ospreay proved to what he said. Yeah, he's one of the best in the world. And, Omega said, I didn't lose because of you, Dawn Callis. That's what this is about. He said he lost because Will was the better man. And he said he's not over, or it's not over. He'll be back. And Ospreay said, Kenny, if you and Tony want to finish this, I know a good place. So, now, at the post-show media scrum, Ospreay was basically asked, because he is an Englishman. Blatantly asked, Will you be at Forbidden Door? I believe the verbiage was, is Tony gonna pry the door open for you? Or something along those lines. And Osprey blatantly said, the date's free. You know, he said, once again, I'll work here, but nothing will make him happier than the Prince down there in Wembley, like some nosy twat. Or something like that. But, yeah. Osprey, I mean, yeah, part one at Wrestle Kingdom. Part two at Forbidden Door. Part three, the trilogy, at Wembley. Sign me up. Yeah, sign me up. If we're gonna do Osprey vs Omega 3 at Wembley, I would totally be up for that. I mean, just the fact that for Osprey to be at Wembley, that's a plus in of itself. So we'll see. We'll see. We got Orange Cassidy, El Hijo del Vikingo, and Keith Lee for Stan Garcia and 2.0 Trios match. So, because Dan Garcia and 2.0 made a challenge to Orange Cassidy, and Tony Khan needs Orange Cassidy on the show, offered for him to find two partners. Out of the blue right there is Keith Lee and Hijo del Vikingo. First of all, great to see Keith Lee's old look back. I mean, the gray hair and the cloak, or the robe, whichever you want to say, wasn't doing it for me, and probably not for anyone. This was more of his badass, original look. So, good there. The match felt odd because, it's just really based on Sunday, Orange Cassidy and Garcia. I mean, I thought maybe Swerve, that feud would still be going, but certainly not this week. This match felt random. So, nonetheless, because 2.0 are severely underrated. Severely. But anyways, this match wasn't much here. Beat down Vikingo for most of the match. In the end, Matt Menard trying to knock down Keith Lee wasn't successful. Ultimately, Supernova, which is what they're calling it, by Keith Lee on Menard for the win. There you go. So, and I mean, good I guess for Keith Lee to get a win, but I mean, this match felt random. Outside from Garcia and Orange Cassidy, yeah, not sure what to say. So, the Elite were backstage. And they announced that they had an open challenge for a match. In came the Dark Order. And the Bucks were kind of ignoring them. Um, Hangman was poking fun at it. About it. Dark Order were just ticked about the separation from Hangman. So they said that tonight they're not his friends, they're his opponents. So there was that. Trios match here, which I like. You know, if we can bring a serious heel Dark Order, because I think that's when they were at their best. Honestly. I mean, when they were babyfaces, they were hilarious and they were over. But I think a more serious, heelish side of Dark Order can really benefit them. I mean, when Brody Lee was their leader, they were obviously at their best, but yeah. Then we got Jericho and Guevara backstage. Jericho talked about, well, Sunday, you know, it was the first time he and Zayn were in a match together for the first time ever. It was historic. And Singh talked about how he needed more time in the ring with Jericho. So he told Singh, well, you're going to get that. And that soon his dream will become a nightmare. And that you're not going to be facing just Jericho. You're going to be facing the Paymaker. And that white paint will be turned into a pool of blood. And then Jericho was like, basically, you're right, Sammy. Sammy said something like, cool, yeah. So there you go for the main event. So we got the Dark Order versus the Elite. Again, nice little match here. You know, also what happened afterwards, I had to say this little beef here was pretty good. So, you know, Bucks hit dives to the outside. You know, Headman, you know, sorry, he was conflicted for pretty much the majority of this match because, you know, he's quote unquote friends with the Dark Order. Been for a long time. When Teddy and the Bucks were heel, and he was on his own, but turned to Dark Order for friendship. They celebrated together when Heyman won the world title, so there was that. But after a bit of hesitation, Heyman and Udo exchanged in the middle of the ring. Silvers and Reynolds fired back with their suplex stunner combination for a near fall, which always looks good. Hangman was again conflicted when going for a buckshot, but the Bucks fired back with Suicidas on the outside. Silver's arm was sold away with a roll up for near fall, but eventually they stifled Silver's in the ring. BT trigger falls a buckshot lariat for the win. And the Elite get the victory. Afterwards, Heyman apologized to Silvers. And the BCC came out for the attack with Konosuke Takeshita. Claudio tried to break Kingston's arm. Moxley had his back turned. And Moxley talked about, well, they brought each other to their best. And if they gotta finish this, they are gonna. So he announced July 19th in the Tea Garden. In the words that someone else said, William Regal said last year, blood and guts. As figured, we will get blood and guts between the Elites and the BCC, culminating this feud, which has gone for a while. I mean, it's obviously unfortunate because, you know, Kenny is gonna I mean, that's the other thing. Kenny's kind of cursed when it comes to blood guts. You can say because, well, because first match was supposed to take place in 2020, and then, you know, obviously the pandemic happened. So instead, it was the Elite and Matt Hardy versus the Inner Circle in the same Stampede match. And then now this year, and we can also say, unfortunate, same for Bryan. Last year he was injured, and King Claudio to replace him. Saw an addition by subtraction. But yeah. And then this year, Ryan, unfortunate injury at Forbidden Door, but alas. I mean, it's unfortunate both two will be out for the match, but as long as both are healthy for Wembley, I think that's the main thing, because, gotta have all hands on deck if you can, for especially if All Out is going to be a week after Wembley. So, there we go. But, yeah, Blood Guts, 4-4, it appears. The Elite and Eddie versus the BCC, so solid. Can't wait. Again, so Adam Cole, so he was weighing on MJF, and then came Roderick Strong. I'm going to be careful about, MJF. And came MJF, called Roddy a generic white guy. And that obviously riled up Roddy. But yeah, Roddy was like, be careful of MJF, so they went for their bonding time, and Roddy was like, or Cole told MJF, good luck in your match for Samoa Joe, which will take place on Collision Saturday. That should be the main event, in all honesty. That should be the main event. Well, and MJF's going to be on the card as well, wrestling, so we'll see. But yeah, we'll see. Jack Perry. There's a lot built based on. You could sense there was a lot built to this segment based on what happened on Sunday at Forbidden Door. At Forbidden Door, Jack Perry, I'm guessing Song or Jungle Boy, turned on Hook, attacked him after his match with Sonata, and, was mocking the fans, basically, turned heel. And, loved by the fans, and curious to see how this was going to turn out. And I gotta be honest, I liked the promo that he cut. The problem is, I just don't think the crowd really cared, honestly. It just felt dead in this segment. I mean, the whole vibe of this. Now I get it. You know, you're not. As a heel, you're supposed to either get boos or somewhat cheers. The crowd just felt dead in this segment. The energy, it just felt off. So, Jungle Boy's music hit. And Jack Perry was like, you know, cut that crap off. You know, you guys have ruined that song for me. So, crowd was obviously not happy for that. So he was out there. He had his hair in a ponytail. He had these shades on. He had this jacket. I mean, was really trying to build into a heel. The almost Hollywood Jack Perry mannerisms. So, Jack was like, it doesn't matter what you guys say. You know, I got a car out there waiting for me. And you guys are stuck here because of wildfires. So Jack was like, okay, I'm so young. I'm still cashing fat checks. And I'm still banging the hottest bitch in this whole place. Uh. Ay, ay, ay. All I'll say to that is. Certainly envious. Certainly be envious of Jack Perry. He's a lucky dude. However, I would. Chris Statlander is my number one in AEW. That's all I'll say. Although, Anna Jay, she is fairly up there. She's fairly good. And Jack Perry's a lucky dude. So, yeah, the crowd felt very odd. So, Jack was like, you think I'm going to let some guy blow his championship in front of my face and not do anything about it? Said the last time I was in a tag team, I was a world champion. Jungle Hulk was travesty. You're lucky to be standing next to me. And he said, I know what that title means to you and means to your family. And that is why he's going to take it from you. Or he says he's going to take it from Hook. He even said something to Taz um, on commentary. I mean, he was playing up to crowd a bit more. Anyway, so after a while, Hook's music played. He ran out there and basically chased Jack Perry all the way out of the arena um, to the point where Jack dove head first, literally head first into his car. It shut and the car drove off. That was a bit hilarious, must say. Anywho, look, I like Hook. Hook is still fairly new and so very young. Jack, like I said, I'm not sure right now, at least, as far as his heel persona. I'm not sure, to be honest. But we'll see. I mean, they pulled the trigger, so I don't know. I just don't know. So we got Ruby Soho versus the next Alexa Nichols. So Baker was apparently sick. So her match with hope she gets better ASAP. But so of course, because she's girlfriend of Adam Cole. Adam Cole was sick on Sunday, so hopefully Cole is okay. But the Owen Hart Cup first round match will take place next week. So, anywho, Solo won here with the lockjaw, sending a message to Britt Baker. So there was that. She cut a little promo afterwards. Um, yeah. So yeah, hopefully you can get this match next week, and we'll see. We'll see. Main event. Sting and Darby versus Jericho and Sammy. Texas Tornado rules. Again, this chaotic, this yeah, I'd definitely say better than the trios match on Sunday. When Sting dives off the ladder through a table to Sammy, busting his mouth open, probably losing a tooth, probably lost a tooth. You know, cannot love Sting. Just cannot help but love Sting. There you go. Because I love Sting from his time in TNA to now. I mean, kudos. Even WCW, still watch clips of Sting in WCW. I'm credit. So, Sammy, he sent Darby into steps, and all four of them were fighting in the crowd. Jericho took like a sign, like a paper sign, and was trying to cut Sting's mouth with it. You know, Darby had a coffin drop to the outside on Sammy. So, they set up two tables and a ladder in the middle of the ring. So, both Darby and Sting made the way up. So, Darby went down to attack Jericho. And Sting, now, Sammy was probably a bit too far, I'd say. So, there were two tables, and Sammy was originally in between both tables. And Sting dove off this ladder into Sammy on through one of these tables, and kind of payback for Forbidden Door, where Sammy dove off, used a 630 into Sting and table. Now, you could tell from the way Sting landed. Near the legs of Sammy that clearly, he probably busted a tooth or something. Because Sting was down for a bit, and then the next thing we saw him, his mouth was bloody. So, there we go. So, Darby used his skateboard, the skateboard spot on Jericho's back for their fall. Jericho used the ladder, but was thrown into it by Darby. Jericho had a juice effect, which took out Darby for basically the rest of the match. Sting was back in, went for a Scorpion Death Drop, but Jericho fought out of it. So he was in the corner. Jericho got caught with a Stinger Splash, but Jericho fired back, locked in the walls. Sting, because originally Texas tornado rules, so no rope breaks. So Sting grabbed Jericho's bat and used it to hit Jericho in the head to break up the walls of Jericho. Jericho had a codebreaker, or for a near fall. Sting then went for a Scorpion Death Drop. Jericho kicked out. Then finally, Sting locked in Scorpion Death Drop. Jericho tapped out. And there you go. Sting and Darby get the win to end Dynamite. Like I said, good match. Better than Forbidden Door. But yeah, we'll see. Match I liked, so but yeah, the way Dynamite felt was kind of a reset, come down period, as soon they're getting set to build up or start build up towards All In and All Out. So maybe next week they start. They're probably so Saturday more so the Own Heart tournament, because Punk vs. Kojima was on Sunday. So there's that to keep in mind. But we'll see. We'll see. But last day was good. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Of course, you guys leave a like for the video. But I'll see you guys, and subscribe as well. If we can get over 20 subscribers now, I mean, so 19, but we'll see. But Collision on Saturday, we got the other 3 matches of the quarterfinals of the Owen Hart Cup. We got Hobbs versus Dustin Rhodes. We got Ricky Starks versus Juice Robinson. And we got Samoa Joe versus Roderick Strong. That should be fun. And MJF will be in action on Collision. So we'll see. But Collision's shaped up nicely. We'll see. I'll see you guys on Sunday for your AEW Collision review. But let's leave you guys all. Thank you all for joining me. Be safe. See you guys soon. Peace.